Omer Eshel is counsel for the Israel Ministry of Tourism for the Midwest region. Omer is a fourth-generation Israeli native, and he's responsible for promoting tourism to the Holy Land in 13 U.S. states. And he's excellent at what he does because I've been there 2 times working on my 3rd trip. Welcome back to the Harvest Show, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Omer, I always love it when you come because I feel like I'm connected with my brother from the Holy Land. Tell me, how did you get this job working for Israel Ministry of Tourism?
I think it's a question they ask themselves that every morning also. I got this position because of I used to be the head of the parks next to Jerusalem on the National Park Authority, and I think that's one of the main reasons why they asked me to join the Ministry of Tourism, because I've been guiding tours since I was 14 years old. So.
But now, I mean, your job description is much more detailed. I mean, you're here in the States. Kind of talk about that job description and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, the job description, government would like descriptions, everything is square and boxes. But the job description is to increase tourism to Israel. But people have to understand, they have to realize that Israel is no regular tourist destination. Actually, it's not a tourist destination at all. It is the land of God. And as such, we should not look at it as Cancun or Costa Rica or Florida, because that's a tourist destination. When you go to Israel, you see God's hand in everything. And what's amazing about Israel is the fact that the same Israel that we read about in the Bible, even the name Israel, Jacob fought against the angel. When we read about the sites in Israel, it's exactly the same sites that you're going to see today. So it's not like you look at Lonely Planet and you check about a restaurant. You look in Israel and you'll find the places of the acceptance of the Holy Ghost on the Pentecost. Or the last night of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, or the limitation of Jeremiah in the streets of Jerusalem. These are real places. So that's what's so amazing about coming to Israel.
Every job has its challenges. After all, people here have to work with me. Your job right now has a tremendous challenge, trying to promote tourism to an area that's in the middle of conflict. How's that going?
Well, when you look at this, it's something that it's absolutely amazing when how to put things in perspective. I'll give you an example. There was yesterday a warning from the State Department. We all know about this, but little Americans know that France issued a travel warning to Chicago for its citizens. So imagine a French consul sitting in the same Harvest Show in Paris getting the same question. So it's all about perspective. And another thing, this is my own personal view, my own personal, it's not a government point of view, that's my personal view. Israel is really, I think, guarded by the Almighty. And when you look at it, we are in a skirmish right now. Anyone who's going to tell you otherwise is not so correct. And we do have our problems right now, but look at the outcome. Look at what's going on. And I really believe when you look at the Iron Dome and the amount of missiles that have been fired to heart of civilian population, we have 0 casualties from those rockets. And I believe that above that Iron Dome, there is that promised dome of God that bless those who bless thee and I'll curse those who curse thee in Genesis 12:3. And this is my point of view when I'm saying that Israel is the land of God. So,
well, my guess is you're safer in Jerusalem than you are in certain parts of Chicago anyway. But Pete Sumrall is standing by on Skype. We've reconnected with Pete, and I understand that you've got a question for Omer right now. Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Omer, it's great to see you, and I wish I was there actually with you on the set in South Bend. But my question to you is, I'm in Hong Kong. And we're planning on bringing a group for February, Philippines, Shanghai, and maybe Hong Kong as well. What can they expect?
Okay, from what I could understand of the question, they're getting ready to bring a group over from the Philippines right now for the next LeSEA tour. And I'm sure one of the things that they're asking is, what kind of precautions do they need to take as they get ready to come into Israel? Is it any more extraordinary to go now, or actually November when they're going to be going, than it would be any other time?
November in the Middle East, in the U.S., they schedule things a year in advance. In the Middle East, you schedule things 5 minutes in advance because everything keeps on changing. By November, I believe by the grace of God, all of this will be done. I actually believe that by 2 weeks from now, even less than that, everything will be done, because there's a dire need on both hands for this to be done. We all know that. That's the common understanding of everybody. There's no special need for you to do in order to be prepared for the trip to the Holy Land, apart from read your Bible very, very thoroughly, cover to cover. That you do need to do. In terms of safety, it's exactly the same as going anywhere. And don't forget also that we as government, and now we're going to speak government right now, if we would have thought in every given moment that it's unsafe to come, we would have told you, don't come. Because the responsibility, of course, lies on our shoulders. So I just going to share this with our audience. I call my dad every morning. He's in Jezreel Valley. I call him every morning to ask how's he doing. I called him this morning. And I said, Dad, so where are you? Is everything okay? He was hiking on Mount Tabor, which is the Mount of Transfiguration, saying, I'm enjoying the view right now. I don't know what you're talking about. This morning, about 2 hours ago. So
I think we've reconnected with Pete. Let's try it again.
All right. Hey, Omer, good to see you. I wish I was there in South Bend with you. But my question is, I'm in Hong Kong, and we've got people coming from Asia, both in the Philippines and Shanghai in February, as well as possibly also from Hong Kong. What can they expect when they come to the land of the Bible?
Well, when you come, it doesn't matter. Shalom, Pete, great to see you. When you come to the Holy Land, doesn't matter if you come from Shanghai, if you come from Hong Kong, if you come from Nigeria, it doesn't matter. What you need to expect is that wow effect that will hit you. Now, when I'm saying that wow effect, when you're going to read the Bible and the sites that it really happened, it will hit you so profoundly by saying every blessed word of this book is true. So that's what people will expect. Another thing that people are in shock when they're in Israel, it's a completely, fully westernized city, top to bottom, side to side. It's not a resort that the minute you step out of that resort, you're in problems. Israel is completely westernized city, country with westernized amenities, westernized culture. It's very similar to our culture. So when someone is traveling to Israel, it has this combination of American mentality and Western mentality together with the truth of the Bible. That's what you need to expect, to see that, because the biggest impact you're going to get on that trip is coming back home and saying, everything I read and I was taught is 1,000,000,000% correct.
And I think Pete has another question for us. Pete?
You know, Omer, I do, and I think I already know the answer to this question, but you obviously were born in Israel, raised in Israel. We've heard a lot of stories about your growing up in Israel. What is your favorite thing to do when you go back to the land of the Bible?
Ooh. Well, I don't know how much time we have on the show.
I'm not talking about shawarma or food or a restaurant. I'm talking about the land of the Bible. Come on.
My favorite thing, because I grew up in Jezreel Valley, my favorite thing, and I used to do that every time before we came here to serve in the States, I used to open the Bible and ask my wife, pick a chapter. We picked the chapter, example, King 1st, chapter 17. And the 18, the slay of the prophet of the Baal by Elijah. So we open the Bible, we read the story, and then 5 minutes later, we turn the ignition of the car, we go to see Mount Carmel, we actually decide that this happened. So that's my favorite, that you open, you keep on getting the stories, and you say, you know what, I'm not going to go and visit Six Flags or visit Kenosha for the outlets. I'm going to go and visit the place that Jezebel found her gruesome end in Jezreel. Or I'm going to visit the place that Elisha brought back to life the son of the widower. So that's what my favorite things in Israel.
Okay, so I think Pete is gone now. Pete, are you there? Or
I'm still here. I had to laugh at the Kenosha outlet. You've maybe been in Chicago a little too long.
Well, Pete, thank you so much for chiming in on this conversation. Omer, tell me, how important is tourism to Israel? I mean, it's not there are some other, forms of there's tourism and technology, but talk about the impact of tourism and when we go there.
What's amazing about, in terms of the impact of tourism in Israel, it's not so much economically. For a lot of nations, they think, look at Thailand, for example, or Switzerland. They're based on tourism. Israel, not so much. Our biggest export is actually knowledge, agriculture, and high tech. Not so much tourism. Tourism is number 10 or number 11 on the list.
Wow, okay.
But what's amazing about, and what's important about the tourism in Israel is far beyond economy, far beyond shekels and dollars. It's the understanding of the importance of that prophecy, of the resurrection of the Jewish people, the same as the gathering of the dry bones in the book of Ezekiel. This is it. This is the fulfillment of the prophecy. To be a tourist to Israel is to go and visit the Bible. You don't visit a country, you visit the Bible, you visit the core of our faith, of what we believe, who we are, the 10 Commandments. So the importance in Israel, of tourism to Israel, actually comes on two different directions, which funnel into one. From our side, of course, is the increase of the economy and all of that, but also the understanding of people around the world, how important Israel is to the Western civilization. And for the people who travel to Israel is important for them because, again, that reassuring the Bible, and that's reassuring why you go to church on Sunday and why thou shall not steal. That's where it came from. So that's why it's so important about tourism to Israel.
Well, go on, Chuck.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I wanted to say is when I go to Israel, I feel like I'm going home. You know, this is the place because this is the birthplace of Christianity, but it's also my birth, my, becoming a born-again Christian. For that person who's kind of on the fence saying, I want to go, I'm not quite sure, or I may not have the money, you said that this is a very good time to go to Israel because it's inexpensive.
Now it's very inexpensive because of what we have right now. But anytime, again, you have not to look at Israel as a tourist destination. This mindset has to be different. I'll share that with our audience. My dream was to visit Glacier Bay. And the first time we came to Chicago, I said to my wife, we're going to fly to Alaska, we're going to have a cruise and visit Glacier Bay. I visited Glacier Bay. Changed my life? No, it didn't. I've seen other glaciers in the world. Gorgeous glacier, I'm not saying, but it didn't change my life. Every time I'm going to the Garden Tomb, every time I read that chapter about Jesus saying to his disciples, wait over here while I go and pray over there at Garden Gethsemane, at the same place, next to the same olive trees, changed my life again and again and again and again. So when you're saying in terms of financial, I don't know if I have it today, don't look at it as a tourist destination. It is not. It is an investment. It's an investment for yourself. I believe you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, you owe it to what we read I read, of course, most of our audience also, every night that we read this Bible. That's where it's from.
Wow, so good. Thank you so much, Omer, for sharing that with us. You put it in context for us. It is not a visit to Florida. I'm from Florida. I go to Walt Disney World every now and then. This trip will change your life. To connect with Omer, go to goisrael.com or you can go to harvest-tv.com. And remember, we have a trip to the Holy Land coming up in November.